Mick Campbell eating the sausage and like with the gut and drinking the beer, running
and
like
his nuts hanging out. That bit where Danny Wills comes down and tries to wake him up to go surfing, and he's there with his big nut hanging out. Obviously, Fanning's classic line about "I want to go to the Gold Coast and get sick chicks and filthy
pits, mate."
And the Patterson brothers at the start, or Jake at the start of it,
Jake's
where he's going through the Atlas of Australia. And he's saying, "There's no waves in Western Australia, but me and my brother and I have done extensive research, and the Gold Coast is the place you want to go." So good.
It's great. I love the Danny Wills throwback to down the line. The Quicksilver film with Tommy Carroll, and like, "Hey Danny, what are you doing?" "Wait, drawing my surfboard." And then he has the throwback to Tommy Carroll.
Doing the exact same thing, with young Blake Johnson.
So good. So good. And then Danny Wills is surfing, by the way.
Yeah, the pink, is it pink rail? No, orange rail.
Yeah. That last segment of his with that song
Yeah. That was that same era. It was G-Land 97 when he did that backhand floater.
Yeah, holy crap, I remember that.
Yeah. Which I was going to... G-Land 97 should be in this list, but I had to push it out for something else. It's talked for a long time about that.
It's so hard. I was trying to do this, and I'm like, but what about this? But what about that?
Yeah.
Like, there's just, it's what sticks out to you,
Yeah.
All right, so after ETR, where do we go from here?
Pulse.
Justin
Gaines' Pulse. So, again, this was a movie that I just ended up with. Mum and Dad would have chosen it for me for my birthday, but I think in terms of the impact that it had on Australian surfing at that time, it should still rank in there anyway. So
it was the antidote to steel.
It was. We were just in this. I think Australian surfing was a little bit sort of shell shocked at this stage because the momentum generation was just like taking over. And then
you had Sarge start the Lick My Balls organization.
LMB, yeah. But even like that was still a bit.
It's rather ironic these days, by the way. Sorry.
The old guard of Australian surfing were just sort of starting to fade, and you had this new crew coming through. And I think that Pulse did a really good job of capturing all that talent. So, who are some of the standouts in that?
Neil Purchase.
So, the session with Neil Purchase Jr. and Margot at let's just call it D-Bar, was just out of this world. That surfing still to this day just is incredible to watch. The power and the speed in what were some pretty meaty waves was just incredible. Like Neil Purchase Jr. doing like 3 or 4 backhand off the tops and the spray going 25 feet in the air was just like insane, unheard of. But also you had the likes of Lee Winkler, Trent Munro, Jay Phillips,
Simon Robinson,
Robbo. Oh God, he's surfing. That was just incredible.
So good.
And
I love him. I'm a goofy, so I'm like,
so he's still seen surfing around here all the time, and he's still surfing very well.
Do you miss the long rail line, by the way?
I don't miss it because, personally, because I ride longboards.
Yeah, no, I meant watching. Watching the surfers today.
But it's coming back a little bit. So you watch like Creed McTaggart, and
it's amazing riding that Dahlberg.
And even though it's only like it's a 6'3".
6'3", yeah.
So it's not that big, but it just looks so big and so beautiful. So I think that's actually coming back a little bit.
I called it a few years ago. I said to people,
really good. Yeah,
because that not only the rail line, but the swing weight. When you hit the lip with a longer board, and if your tail wafts, so much more weight and more leverage into it. Whereas the smaller boards, it looks kind of weak and looks flicky. Even Slater, looks sometimes when he does these off the tops, that if he were on a longer board, it would look more crucial. Yeah, I think
it's funny. Justin Gain posted a clip of Slater on like a 6'9" or something. Absolutely ripping the bag out of it. And there was he must have been some like Brazilian Val cook, commented on it saying, "Oh, Kelly, why did you guys ride such long boards back then?" And Kelly being Kelly responded, and was like, oh, we were just doing what we'd seen those done before us, what we'd seen surfers do before us, and hadn't really put much thought into board design. We're just sort of copying what had come before us, which I thought was really interesting. That he sort of just wrote it off. It was like, oh, we just didn't know what we were doing, whereas what we're on now is like, it's so much better. And I mean, he's Slater. I'm not going to argue with it, but
yeah. Well, everyone says like when they see him on a slightly longer board, like it just looks better. Like Bell's last year looked better on a slightly long board. It just the rail line has something to do with it. I feel like, and the swing weight makes it look more dramatic. Yeah. It's harder to double pump on those things too. Yeah. Because they're so like this in some ways. You have to commit to those turns.
Yeah. So the linkage would be nice. But they were still like, they were so rocket and so curved that you could still do pretty crazy things with them.
Seriously.
Yeah. So for me,
good waves only, of course. Good waves. Yeah. Like I'm not advocating for riding those things in the shit that I used to ride them in. In New York.
So this is an excellent segue into my next selection because it's at the absolute opposite end of the scale and sort of just contradicts everything I've just said. 5.5 by 19.25.
But it was the timing of that was so perfect. It was on the heels of Curran riding Tommy Peterson's Fireball Fish. And you had Litmus come out right around the same time. And so that like riding when Corey Lopez rode the twin fin, at like rock piles, and they're like, oh, twin fin, what? It was awesome.
It was a Cambrian explosion at that time, wasn't it, in terms of what was happening? But also for me with that movie, I could probably argue that what's really going wrong was it was hard to choose between the two, but in terms of the impact that it had on my surfing at the time, like we remember watching that with my mates and we were just like, this is incredible that you can do that on those sorts of boards. And I actually remember going and taking one of my old boards at the time and just sawing the top, like sawing the nose off and just taping it up. So all of a sudden I had like a 5.7 and just going out and just trying chop up after chop up after chop up, and ended up being one of the first kids in my group to land a chop up. And I was like, this is incredible. Probably like the peak of my surfing career. So like in terms of that, the way it sort of made me look at surfing, I just, couldn't leave it out of there. And it in itself is still such an excellent movie too.
That movie was amazing. I mean, one of my favorite segments is the Taylor Knox one, where he's at Puerto Escondido and starts on. There's this song that like do like just so good. Like, and then it shows him at Trestles, like fucking just the rail turns on that. Yeah. And then that segment, there's the extras of that segment in What's Really Going Wrong, where he's just like, holy crap, man. Yeah. But What's Really Going On and 5.5 are like, I mean, all the Lost movies, you could argue, had major significant impact on the culture in terms of verbiage and how people looked at themselves as surfers. Yeah. Fucking Lost on the Road was great.
Yeah, Lost to Decline.
Lost at Sea.
Yeah. What was it? Lost Across America, which had like the runtime. So talking about good credit scenes.
It was so long.
It went for like an hour and a half. And then the credits was split screen. So I think it was 4 screens going at once with all different...
Velvet Underground soundtrack at the end.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
and
good. Yeah,
4 different videos going all at once because they obviously just had so much stuff to cram into it.
Mike Riola, man, like just captured exactly what was going on. Yeah. One time my dad's surf shop owed them money, and so it's like that happens when you own a surf shop sometimes. So they owed him money, and so this guy John Hannon worked there. John Hannon was like the first surfboard shaper in New York. He's like credited almost as like a father of New York surfing. Yeah, and he used to work there, and so Lost picks up and they're like, I need to speak to this person. They owe me this much money. And John's like, he's older at this time in his 70s. He's like, okay, all right. So I'll leave a message. I'll let him know that the the guy from Lost wants his money, and the guy goes, I'm not the guy from Lost, I am lost. I think it's Mike Riola doing that. So. And he's like, okay.
I am lost.
I am lost. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Next up.
This is number 5.
Right. Number 5.
Sick Joy. Jack McCoy, Billabong.
So good.
So this is going back to my original point again. It's if you look at that series of movies that Jack McCoy did in the early 90s, like Sons of Fun, Green Iguana. Sick Joy is probably like the runt of the litter.
Penultimate.
Yeah, if you compare them now, sort of objectively, but at the time was again one of the first videos I ever owned. So just in terms of the significance for me and how many times I've seen it, I couldn't leave it out.
Surfing a Donovan Frankenfooter. Amazing.
Yeah. The two of them doing the guitar solo on the boat to the crowd of Barlows.
So good.
Yeah. Luke Egan, I think, is probably the highlight standout surfer in that film. It was the height of the hair flick and the kick stall.
Yes.
That he would do. That still nowadays you look at it and it's like just insane.
He's like. For those listening, I just took up my Lego man and did a Luke Egan kick stall.
It was so good. You just had a little wig on him.
That's his shaved head phase. That's his shaved head's phase. Maybe more Bunyip dreaming.
He definitely had the long mop going in Sick Joy still.
Yeah.
And then Oki being Oki. Lots of really good Sonny Garcia as well too. I think it's Tahiti, that right hand reef point that they serve.
Yes.
So yeah, all of that, and then also just the Jack McCoy being at the height of his sort of auteur powers. In that series anyway. He did some really good stuff later on too. But yeah.
Well, that was the last of that series, and then he went on to the Billabong Challenge series, and then also interim did a movie for Oxbow with Gary Elkerton.
Yeah,
which was kind of random.
Yeah, and then he went on. Well, then one I've got for my Hype Up movies, he went into the Billabong Junior series. So there was Alley Oop and Wide Open, and those. I love Alley Oop. Yeah.
Freaking Andy Irons, playing bumper cars with everyone.
Yeah. He was, the level of intensity you could even see at that stage was insane.
His attempts at the airs on the single fin were pretty good.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah, so that was it in terms of the...
Sick Joy, man. That's a good one. That's in the library for you to watch.
I did see that in there too. There's also a couple of these that I've gone and looked that you can now watch on YouTube too. So I don't know if there is a way at the end of this we can maybe have a few links for people if they want to go.
Oh yeah, we'll put it up. Yeah, I like it.
Because I don't think at this stage you want to be making your treasure trove too public.
I don't mind. It's
if somebody asks,
someone asks and needs it. Like I want it to be. All right. So we're gonna take a quick pause here. No worries. And we'll get right back.
Yeah.
Paddle out, snag a wave, paddle out. Take off and stall and get barreled. Stay in the tube for a while. Parallel stance. Hang 10 in the tube. That was fun.
All right. So, how's it going, Nick? So where'd we leave off?
Look, I got to tell you, that accent's got a bit shit.
It's what?
It's got a bit shit. You're doing really well. I feel like
that was
a bit there.
Well, it's late in the day. I haven't been talking to you enough yet. I haven't acclimated my.
You'll get into it. You'll get into it.
Yeah, I got to get into character.
Absolutely. So we were up to top 5 pump ups for films.
Yes, let's talk about your pump ups.
What did I have?
Oh, you got what's really going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Let's discuss. Oh.
Where to start with that? I actually never owned that one. I think it was a mate of mine that had it. So it would always be heading around to his house to watch it or stealing it from him to watch it. Just so much power and energy and I don't know, like a whole new sort of feel for surfing that I hadn't